Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. So I just got off the phone with a guy from Divine Alternatives for Dads. It's a group called Dads that's been in Seattle, I guess, about 20 years, and they have a Tacoma branch. So the guy from Tacoma called me up, and he was talking about networking and working together, and it sounded like he wanted me to send people his way. And then he also says he's looking for employment. So if I need employment, or if I have a need for somebody to work with me or help me out, you know, I don't know where he's going with that. I kind of just jumped in because Divine Alternatives for Dad is an epic failure for a lot of fathers. And this is why there's no fathers' rights movement, because we get stuff like this. So here's how the scenario went. So if you dealt with Divine Alternatives for Dad, I'm sure they have success stories. These sellout attorneys have some success stories. So this is how it went. And this is why either people love me or think I'm an a-hole, because I get right to the point. I do not have time to BS and beat around the bush. So the guy who runs the Tacoma version of Divine Alternatives for Dads, he calls me, and our conversation went like this, and it proved to me that none of these fathers' rights groups are worth anything, and they're all full of crap. So Divine Alternatives for Dads, there's a couple who runs it, and I think maybe the man is the brains behind the counseling and I don't know anything about their networking and counseling and, guys just sitting around and having therapy with one another. That might be great. I do know I've had plenty of people who came to me and said, Divine Alternatives to Dads totally screwed me. They gave me the wrong advice, the wrong paperwork, the wrong lead, and they're enraged by them. And they got better help and insight from me. I think they mainly deal with child support and modifying child support modifications and adjustments, which is a relatively simple thing to do. So the guy I'm talking to, I said, well, let me ask you this. And I actually reached out to dads before and I said, hey, do you want to try and network or whatever? They totally ignored me. I don't know if they had seen me before and didn't like me or they just want to do their own thing. But this guy reaches out to me and I said, well, tell me this. How many guys have you helped get full custody? He goes, well, I got like 3,000 cases in our file over the past 20 years. And then the Seattle branch has like 5,500 to 6,000 cases. I said, I didn't ask how many cases you have because I don't know an attorney who's helped 10 guys get full custody. I'm asking you, how many guys have you helped get full custody? He goes, well, that's something I can't give you an exact number on. I said, that's fine. Did you think it's in the tens and the 20s and the hundreds or the thousands? He goes, there's no way that I could figure all that stuff out. But we've been doing this for 20 years. I didn't ask how long you've been around screwing guys over. I asked specifically your best winning results, getting dad's custody. Then I was going to ask him about 50-50 cases. But he couldn't tell me an answer. He goes, well, I can't tell you an exact answer. I said, I'm asking for something in the 10s and 20s or 30s. Can you give me a round number, hundreds, whatever? I said, dude, I'm asking you a specific question. He goes, James, I cannot give you an answer. So then I was like, screw you, you sellout, and hung up on his face. This is the problem. So you're out here helping dads fight. Oh, and then he says, well, we're not attorneys here and blah, 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 blah. I said, as far as I know, you guys have worked with people on child support and parenting plans and things like that. He goes, yeah, we help with child support and parenting plans. I said, when you've helped guys with parenting plans, how has it turned out for them? Or do you follow up with them? He goes, well, I just can't give you. So they can't give me any evidence of any results. And the guy wants to network with me, and then he's looking for employment. So I don't know what the hell that means. I said, I do my own thing. I don't need people underneath me because most people don't jive with what I'm talking about. They don't want guys to, oh, don't fight like that. That's too aggressive and all this other stuff. So Divine Alternatives for Dads, when I reached out, I got 3 pieces of evidence why they're full of crap and they're a crock and they're a hustle and a con. Number one, like they probably give people like the right paperwork at first and then say, here you go for it. And leave them out, hang them out to dry with no other direction or anything like that. But I've had guys personally come back after dealing with them saying they royally screwed me. I'm pissed off. They don't have answers. They blow me off, or they gave me this minimal information and I'm getting royally screwed, or they gave me some bad advice. Now my child support is more, or now I'm losing out on my kid. Now, the system is corrupt. So, that dad's group, Divine Alternative for Dads, there's been a few different groups called Dads Against Discrimination, which was way more successful than anything this group I'm talking about has ever done. But, um, you know, you're going to have horror stories. I've had situations where there's horror stories, and guys, especially guys who get a hold of me at the last minute, or especially guys who don't listen to what I say, and then they meet up with me and they go do everything except what I'm talking about. They get really screwed and like, James, help me now. Like if you didn't follow, you know, the protocol or what works before, you know, how you know, what are you going to know? Anyway, so if Divine Alternatives for Dads has some horror stories, everybody has horror stories, okay? But I don't know, any attorneys help 10 guys get full custody in a contested case. Now, they probably have a lot of agreed orders where dad had custody and the mother really didn't care. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about going to court and fighting and overcoming every other weekend, or supervised visitation, or even just 50-50 and going to court and getting full custody, or getting it by default or whatever. So dads, Divine Alternatives for Dads might have some horror stories, and everybody's going to have them. But this guy couldn't answer a single question of mine. And he kept saying, well, we've been doing this a long time. A used car salesman has been doing stuff a long time. You know, just because somebody's doing something a long time doesn't mean they know what the hell they're talking about, or they might just know how to hustle people. So, just another sad, pathetic example of, I mean, the guy called me and he didn't even know. He was like, is this Parents' Rights and Resources? And I'm like, yeah. That's after he said, hey, I got a card from your mom. And I'm like, what? Isn't Marie your mom? And I said, no. And so in any case, my mom's name is similar to that, but he couldn't even get that right. So that tells me they're really sloppy and they don't know what the hell they're doing. So if they've done something like with their group therapy, I know they have some kind of group thing where they just, you know, I don't know what you call it. They have little powwows and they just talk about their issues. I'm sure that's therapeutic, but it's way more therapeutic to get on the offensive and win in court. That's all I care about. And, you know, I don't want to dilly-dally around and BS with anybody. If you can't answer a simple question, oh, I don't know how many we got custody, but we've been doing this a long time. Oh, I don't know. We got thousands of people we work with. Yeah, and every single person that's come through your place that came to me said they got screwed by you. And I told him, you know, I reached out to them, you know, several years ago, and then he says, well, the Seattle group, they don't have, you and I could work together. They don't even have to know. So that tells me that they're not even on the same page. So anyway, more proof that all this stuff is, I don't know if there's anybody out there. I mean, if you guys find somebody who knows what they're talking about, I have people come to me and say, hey, there's this group down in Houston, or this group over here in Minnesota, they do this and that. Okay, what do they do? Well, I don't know, but they said some good stuff. Dude, come on, man. See, if I'm doing something, I want to thoroughly do it, and I want to do it right. If somebody's talking and they sound good, I don't give a damn about that. I want to see results and what they've done. Is anybody showing you winning court orders or testimonials? Now, I had a bunch of testimonials on Instagram. My Instagram got banned. So now I'm starting from scratch on that. But you're always going to be able to see my winning court orders. Anytime you talk to an attorney, how many times have you won in the Court of Appeals? How many dads have you got in full custody? Well, there's James, dude. He got full custody without an attorney when he was a warehouse worker who flunked out of college. And he got a white man, got his biracial daughter when she was 7 months old, an infant daughter, all that stuff. If you got an infant, they say, oh, dads can't get custody. If you got a daughter, oh, dads can't get custody. If you got a biracial child, oh, dads can't get custody there. I got all of that, and I got a court order, and I'm showing you my court orders. And you're sitting here saying, oh, well, you know, this guy said that, you know, dads are people too. That's not good enough for me. I want some answers. I want to see some results. And I'm sure there's some people out there maybe kind of like Yoda out in the woods, and you have to go find them and stuff, and they know what they're talking about. I know somebody been watching like that. But you got to know somebody that knows him to get through to him, because he's not trying to be out there like I am. Because I guess it's kind of scary for him or whatever. But I've seen them all come and go. I've seen some good ones come and go, and I don't see any left. Like I could call or count on 10 to 20 different ones like a decade ago, like, and refer people to a guy in Ohio and a group in Las Vegas, but can't anymore. So if there is anybody out there, I haven't seen them. So people say I'm an arrogant prick. It just is what it is. I won. I've helped people win. If you want to win,